There's albums that you grow out of, and then there's albums that grow with you. N.E.R.D's In Search Of isn't just a classic, it's a blueprint for fearless creativity. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? It's your man Lighthouse, and you're now tuned into another episode of Everything for Everybody. And today we're going back into my sonic DNA and discussing one of my favorite albums. Matter of fact, my favorite album of all time, N.E.R.D's In Search Of. I never quite knew when I would sit down and speak on this album or how I would even begin. But some records don't wait for timing, they demand reverence. And for those of us who grew up as disciples of the Neptunes sound, this wasn't just an album, it was a pivot point. It arrived at a crossroads in my life where high school was behind me and college was in front of me, and my identity still was under construction. I was raised in the old New York radio culture where turning the dial was a full spectrum education. Hip hop on one station, R&B on another, classic soul on WBLS, alternative rock on Z100. You flip the AM dial and you might catch jazz drifting through static. Before algorithms curated taste, curiosity did, and you had to know where to be. My circle was strictly hip hop and R&B, but I was different. I loved everything. So when my friend Jason told me about a group called N.E.R.D, I was confused. I was like, who the hell is N.E.R.D? Then he was like, yo, that's the Neptunes rock band. And that changed everything. I was already a believer in their production genius. Their fingerprints was all over records from Mace, N.E.R.D, The Alcoholics, Jay-Z, to name a few. But this was something else. The first song he played for me was Am I High, and I remember being stunned. It was outer-worldly almost. I remember sitting there like a weirdo with my eyes closed, just listening to the song and just like, yo, I can't believe this sounds so good. It was just like the pianos, the Neptune sound with those synths and those guitars. It was just a mixture of it all was just incredible to me. My initial listen was like nutritional for the soul, if that makes sense. The live drums felt unhinged in the best way, urgent and unpredictable. The fusion of rock, funk, and rap felt fearless. Malice from the Clips appeared on the track, and that sealed it. I bought the album immediately. I took my Best Buy credit card right down from SUNY Purchase into the city to secure this CD like it was essential literature. Since then, I've carried this album across every medium that existed. CDs, iPods, Blackberries, burnt copies in the car, backup copies in my shorty's whip. It has never left me. It remains my favorite album of all time. What makes it extraordinary is not just nostalgia, but construction. I consider it a hip-hop album in spirit and philosophy. Hip-hop has always been about synthesis, taking fragments from different places and fusing them into something cohesive. The Neptunes didn't merely sample records, they sampled eras, moods, and different sonic textures. In Search Of feels like an audio melting pot, an archive of influences refracted through their minimalist futurism. When I first heard Baby Doll, I felt like I wandered into a James Bond score scored by John Barry himself if he was on Motown with a little bit more melanin. Definitely something I can hear in a Quentin Tarantino movie with spy guitars, detective show suspense, soul undercurrents all colliding without apology. No two songs resemble each other, yet the album is seamless. It was genre bending in an era that demanded artists stay inside clearly marked lanes. Here were two producers, one black, one Asian, dominating hip-hop radio while simultaneously detonating alternative rock conventions. That was radical, that was liberating. The album taught me courage. Much of my early music was unmistakably Neptunes coded, with jazzy chord structures, unexpected bridges, unconventional formatting. You can trace that same lineage forward into artists like Tyler the Creator, who absorbed the blueprint and expanded it into orchestral boldness. Even artists overseas carried the torch. I discovered Varnish La Pachine in 2020 on his album Metronome, Pole Dance, Twist, Amazon. On that album, I heard echoes of that same adventurous DNA. That's the mark of foundational work. It travels. To me, this album has no skips, and I admit my bias, but I've listened to this album thousands of times and still discover new textures. The way the drums on Am I High breathe rather than loop, the way the arrangements feel alive. On the surface, the song Am I High reads like a playful crush anthem. Beneath it, it's paranoia, altered perception, and social alienation. The song Bobby James has always hit differently for me as well. It's a melancholic and cautionary tale sketching the outline of a young life teetering between invisibility, and ambition. My mother was also a fan of the Bobby James record. She would sing the hook beautifully off key and wait patiently for the instrumental outro. That memory alone cements its permanence for me. The album could be brash and adolescent, songs about lust, mischief, rockstar, excess, but it was also introspective and vulnerable. It redefined what a nerd could be. It made intellect and rebellion coexist. Its initial reception wasn't universally celebratory, but time has a way of vindicating boldness. Groundbreaking art often unsettles before it instructs. In the grand arc of music history, critics' hesitation matters far less than cultural impact. This album bridged rooms. It gave kids like myself permission to love alternative music and street narratives in the same breath. It taught us that we didn't have to compartmentalize ourselves. You could be from the hood and still appreciate something more edgy. You could be cerebral and reckless, and you could be a nerd and a rock star all at once. It's bittersweet to consider that we may never see another N.E.R.D album given the internal fractures that have surfaced over the years. But what they created stands immovable. And it's essential to say plainly, Chad Hugo's genius is as foundational to this story as Pharrell's. The alchemy required both. For what they built, for the permission they gave a generation to be multidimensional, I remain grateful. I love this album and N.E.R.D, and I'm certainly going to cover the other remaining albums in the future. But that's my time, y'all. Thank you for watching another episode of Everything for Everybody. Let me know in the comments what you think about N.E.R.D's In Search Of, and how you feel about what's going on between Pharrell and Chad, whatever. Let's talk about it in the comments. I pray every day that these guys get back together and figure out whatever business quarrel that they have. I hope they settle it and just, find a way to get back and just, do something, you know what I mean? But if not, we still have a wealth of music in the past that we can go back to and just be nostalgic with. But this is one of my favorite albums, if not my favorite. This one is definitely meaningful to me, and I just wanted to share that with you guys and, see who else amongst the tribe fucks with this album as well. So let me know. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can stay in the loop. Until next time, peace.